Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made these cute little pockets that are so easy to be able to stick on a page with doing it either way. And if you have some sort of signature page, you could always attach it. Somewhere on the page, you could attach it to the side to be able to make it more of a side tuck. This way, either way, to put in as an additional piece on a piece of paper. So I'm going to show you how you can make these with quite a few different sizes of paper. Now the only thing it needs to be is double-sided paper. If it was single-sided, then the inside of the pockets would be white. So if you don't mind white, then it can be single-sided, but I have chose to do double-sided. This is from the same thing. So these are 7.5 inches tall. This one was 6 inches wide. This one was 5 inches wide. So 7.5 inches tall. A couple different ways you can start with that. I have a double-sided 12 by 12 that I can cut down to 7.5. I've got, these are Tim Holtz backdrops. They are 8 by 6, or sorry, 10 by 6. So these can be cut down to 7.5 and 6. And these are Tim Holtz 8 by 8s, again, to be cut down to 7.5. So let me show you with, let's show with this one. No, let's show with this one. This will be easier to start with. All right, so since this is 10 by 6, we need to cut it, down to 7.5. So 10 by 7.5 is what, 2.5 inches? So I need to cut 2.5 inches off of this. And will I cut off the top or the bottom? It really doesn't matter. So I'm going to cut 2.5 inches off the bottom. And I'll cut that down, use it as a pocket. I love it. All right, so that is 7.5 inches tall. So again, this is 6 wide automatically. So I can keep it like this and make one of the pockets like this. Or if I wanted to, I could cut this down a little further to make it a 5-inch one, which will look more like that. I would keep it 6 just because 1-inch strip for that, I don't think I necessarily want. Okay, so we're gonna get a scoreboard. And since this is 6 wide, I'm gonna fold it in half down to 3. So we're gonna go ahead and score it. Since this is thicker paper, I'll make sure I get a nice good score on there. And I think I'm gonna want the words as pockets and the blue as the background. So we're gonna fold it. And I was like, I better go and folder somewhere. There we go. Now the question is, do I want these as front pockets or do I want these as front pockets? And I think I want these because I like the numbers. All right, so the ones that you want to have as front pockets, as the side we have to score so that I know where to cut it. Okay, so we are going to score these at 2.5 and then 5. And I'm going to score from the inside. It doesn't really matter which side I do it from. I just want to make sure that's the front. Yep, that's the front. All right, so we are going to score it at 2.5 and then at 5. And we're only scoring it because I want a line to be able to cut from. So I'm going to only score to my fold mark there because I only want to cut the front half of the paper. So we got 2.5 and then we have 5. Because that, since this is 7.5 tall, these are all 2.5 inch tall sections. All right. Now, if I do have a pen. I don't think I can see this, pretty dark. What I was doing on with the lighter ones is taking the pen and drawing down the groove just to make it a little easier to see. Might be hard to see, but just a little bit easier. And we are just going to cut, once again, just to the fold. Now, if you have an X-Acto knife, you can use an X-Acto knife, and a ruler, you can do it that way. Such a small line, I don't think it's too much of a problem to use scissors for it. Okay. All right, so the next thing we need to do is make the flaps. I'm going to start with the top, and I'm going to do my best to fold it down and get it to be on the bottom here. Now, since this one is 6, it is not going to fold. This fold is not going to go to the center. If you do the 5-inch version, this would end up going toward the center. All right, weird break. So I finished filming this video yesterday. And when I went to go look at my phone, it was black. It had stopped. And it stopped while I was doing this. And after I did this off camera, I made this one and I made this one. Another one out of 6 by, was it 7.5? And this one, which was 5 by 7.5, to show the 2 different versions for it. So I'm going to finish it off for you, and I'll just have extras now. So this video, or the video where this stopped, I was folding these down and gluing them. So this was the finished project of this. And as you can see, since this started out as the Tim Holtz backdrops, it was 6 wide. So it has a little bit extra of a lip versus the ones that are 5 wide, which are just the triangles. So I glued them down and they are ready to go. So let me show you. These were the Tim Holtz 6 by 10s. And I think I mentioned in the beginning of the video that you can use 12 by 12s and other like 8 by 8s. So we're going to start with a 12 by 12. Now imagine this, if you will, that this was a 12 by 12 pieces. So what I did for it is I ended up cutting it down at the center at 6. And I was going to keep this for another project because this is the one that it ended up going 6 wide, and it had a bit taller. But when it's 6 wide, you need to cut it down to 7.5. So 7.5 minus 12 is what, 4.5? 4.5. So I need to cut 4.5 inches off. The question is, do I want to keep? I think I want to keep this bottom part. Just trying to, again, picture how it would look going forward. Maybe I'll keep the top part and keep that bottom as a journal card. Okay, so I need to cut off 4.5 inches, and we'll save that for journal card or pocket. Great little one there. Okay. All right, so we have a 6 by 7.5. And as we showed it before, we want to figure out which way we want to have in the front. And I think I'm going to have this in the front. We can score it at the 3, just because it's a little thicker paper, just to make sure it gets a good fold. And that score mark is also going to help. I felt a little off, but I think it'll be okay. The score marker is going to also help us do the scores for the pockets. All right, so that is going to be I'll make that the front and that the inside. Okay, so if that is going to be the front, this is the part that we need to cut. So I'm going to score from the inside so I can make marks with my pen. And once again, we are going to do 2.5 and 5. And I notice that this is a little longer than 7.5. And I'm guessing that maybe the Tim Holtz paper, or not the Tim Holtz, this was a die cuts with a view. I'm guessing that it was a little bigger than 12 by 12, probably because I had to cut the branding strip off, and I probably didn't cut enough off to make it 12. But that'll be okay. It'll be okay. All right, so we have 2.5, and we have 5. All right, sister time. So yeah, so I've had a day since yesterday when I couldn't stop filming, which was fun. I have been sick again. I don't think it's COVID. I think it's just a cough. So hard to tell. But it was really raining hard, very, very, very hard this morning, and we noticed our gutter was backed up. So once it stopped raining, my husband had to climb up the ladder to release the gutter, and basically just touch the top of the gutter. All these leaves are up there, just flush through, and just a torrent of rain. But it's always so much fun to try to do that. Okay, so again, we're going to go ahead and fold these. If you wanted to ink, go ahead and ink beforehand, but we are just going to fold these. Let me start with this side, a little less to deal with. And we are going to fold to the bottom, but leave a little bit extra so it doesn't overhang. And we'll do that. And we'll fold these. I mean, I think these are great little pockets. I think they'd be fun to hold little receipts or tickets or notes. Just places to hide little things would be very fun. And then if you put it on a page, like I said, I think earlier, you can make it a side tuck and hide bigger stuff. Okay. All right, so we're gonna glue the flap down just to give it a little bit of stability. Okay, and all right, so I think this is where we cut off. Basically, after that is done, we're just going to glue the bottom flaps like that. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, with this method, depending on how the paper folds, and since I think this was just a little bit longer than the 12, it is sticking out a little, these little points at the end. Might be hard to tell, but you probably tell the little points are sticking out. So you can leave them if you want, or if you just wanted to go ahead and, you know, just trim them off. No one is the wiser. Again, if you wanted to ink these beforehand, before you glue them down, I would do that so they get done. But these are nice, clean pockets. I like them. And I'm just gonna round the top. So cute, right? And just little place to put things, up or down. Very fun. All right, so that was a 12 by 12 piece of paper, cut down the center at 6. And done. Now, if I didn't want this the 6 wide, I want it a little closer, I could have taken that 6-inch piece. We'll say this is the full one. And I could have cut down the 1 inch to make it 5 and have the 1 inch for something else. So it's an option for you. All right, so the final one I did was this one. And these were out of Tim Holtz 8 by 8 piece of paper. I picked this from the memoranda. It was this one in full. So it had that stakes that side, and it's got a invoice kind of thing in the front. So I get to make another one with another Tim Holtz, same one from a memoranda. So for this, being this is 8 inches tall, we'll end up just taking a little piece off of that. But we want to get it down to 5 inches. And one of the reasons to do that too is because then we'll have a 3-inch piece that we end up using as a tag. This is the piece from the original one. Oops, you can see that. So this is a nice, nice fun tag. So what you want to do is decide which 3 inches do you want to cut off. Do you want to cut off these 3 inches and have that as a tag? Do you want to cut off these 3 inches as a tag? That's pretty nondescript, so I think we'll have to figure out from this side. And so if we cut off that, this is what's going to be in the front of the tag. If we cut off that, this will be the front of the tag. So I think I want this as the front of the tag with the pockets, not that. So I'm going to cut the 3 inches off there. Okay, just take a second to think about it, and you'll save yourself and have a lovely tag. So this will work with any 8 by 8 papers that you have. They don't have to be the Tim Holtz. I've got other 8 by 8 paper pads. Or, I mean, if you have a digital that is 8.5 by 11, you could definitely do the 8.5 that way and then cut off the rest. Options. But for the 8 by 8s, that's what I decided to do. So the next thing I have to do is cut off the, since this is 8 and we want a 7.5, I just want to cut off 1/2 inch. And I know you're thinking, wow, why cut off 1/2 inch? But there's actually some fun stuff that would be 1/2 inch that is going to get hidden. This is going to be in the back. I mean, it's a shame that that's in the back, but 'tis what 'tis. I could actually do it this way. I might do it that way. I like that. and I don't necessarily need the map. So that's the way we're going to do it. But I still got to cut off 1/2 inch. So let's see what 1/2 inch looks like if the world stays there or if the world gets cut in half. Oh, the world stays. Okay, so we're just going to cut off 1/2 inch. And with everything Tim Holtz, this becomes like gold, right? Very fun. I like it. I know you're saying, Lisa, you're creating scraps for your bust of scraps. But that's okay. All right, so now, since this is now 5 inches, we're going to score it at 2.5 to get it to fold. So I'm going to go ahead and score it at 2.5. All right, so we're still gonna do the 2.5 and the 5 to get the 3 flaps. All right, we're gonna do the flaps on this side, so these still poke through. All right, so since we're doing the flaps on this side, we're going to draw on the inside. So I would have to say these are very, very easy to do. The hardest part seems to determine is to figure out what you want on top, what you want on the bottom, what you want as a flap. And 5. Okay. I don't think we need this anymore. All right. So we're just gonna cut to the score. All right, so since this is the 5.5, these folds are gonna pretty much go to the center part. But we don't want it to go over the center or really all the way to the center because we want to be able to fold this over without this part getting jammed in there, if you know what I mean. Okay, so we're gonna do the next one. And again, we're just gonna make it shy of the 2 folds. Make sure it's good. And the last one. I don't know if I have a preference between the 5-inch wide or the 6-inch wide. I mean, you could definitely stick a little bit bigger or longer stuff when it's 6 wide, but I still think the 5 has its merits. And as a side tuck on a page, I definitely think that will work out well. So as you can see, since these are a little bit more realistic for the angles, they're not overflowing. All right, let's glue. I almost feel bad covering up some of this Tim Holtz stuff, but I am at least using it, right? Instead of just hoarding it, because I tend to want to hoard it. I have not gone yet and even investigated those the color palette ones he's got out where he's releasing what, two or three at a time. The paper, I mean, I love them. I think they look great, but I'm like, oh, do I want them? I'm kind of hoping that, kind of like when they released the vaults, that this is where I got these. They had the 12 by 12s and the 8 by 8s as a, not a value pack. I guess it was. It was like you buy the bundle. That was a really good deal, I thought, for all of them. So I might just wait until they're all released and see if they end up doing some sort of bundle. Because according to when I watched his release of them, he mentioned something about they're not like the vault papers. Like once they printed them, they're done, they're gone. They are gonna keep stocking them. Oh, I love this. The little words on there and stuff. Oh, I love it. Okay, so we're just gonna glue those flaps down. Now, for decorating these, I don't necessarily think most of these need much decorating at all. I mean, the pockets are, since they're double-sided, they look pretty good. Like this could definitely, you know, add a label, floral, butterfly, something, whatever would go with whatever journal it ends up going with, because it's a little less decorated. But ones that have, you know, something on there, they're not too bad. This, for sure, like, really, does it need any extra decorating? I don't think so. It's just fun in general, right? So, again, all you just need to do is glue it down, be able to have it do side tuck. As I'm saying that in my head, let me glue the top and bottom and have this as a belly band with pockets, and have it be able to go all the way through as a belly band, or like I said, some sort of, you know, side tuck or top tuck. Lots of options to be able to get many, many pockets out of this. And it really doesn't take a lot of paper. 7.5 by 6 or 7.5 by 5, and you can have your pockets, and they can go whichever direction you want them to go. Upside down. You can make them from 8 by 8s, 12 by 12s, the 6 by 10 Tim Holtz. This was a 12 by 12 piece of paper. Make them from all different sizes. Yeah, lots of variety, lots of options. I love it. Okay, well, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I'm not sure if I mentioned in the first video when I did this or not that I can't say that I saw this anywhere, but, you know, every idea is not new. It always seems like they've been done, so I do apologize if somebody else did that first. I was not intending to take your idea and run with it as my own. But, yeah, who knows? Yeah, I think that's going to be great. I love these. And they'll end up, some of these will end up going into 50-piece pockets as they go out. My 50-piece things that I have available on my eBay. All right, that is going to be it for me today. If you like the video, a thumbs up would be very appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel and want to see other videos, such as these and or my 50 ways to bust a scrap video, which I am enjoying doing, please subscribe to the channel and ring that bell to get notified when those videos come up. All right, that's going to be it for me today. I appreciate each and every one of you that has stopped by, and as usual, I hope you all have a wonderful and creative day. Bye for now.